Net64 is a tool that allows you to play Super Mario 64 together with friends. The tool provides a sandbox for playing Super Mario 64 in multiplayer, meaning you can do whatever you want. You can play against each other, you can play with each other, you can help each other get all 120 stars, you can save Peach together, or you can just beat each other up. There are many characters to choose from, and each character has its own perks and disadvantages. This tool works by hooking a program to each emulator's memory and sending that data over to one another. There is a code running inside the game that will then render each other's characters and make them touchable. With the 2.0 release, we use a special emulator that uses more memory. That way, we can break the original N64's limitations and add more characters. This also means that ROM hacks that already use the full memory of the N64 can now run on this tool, because we only use the additional RAM that you added to the emulator. There also has been a lot of new content added to this version that I will be explaining in just a second. If you want to find out how to set this video up, just wait till the end of the video. The first new character is Goomba. Goomba is a weakling. Goomba can't jump, and Goomba has no arms. Goomba is only for those that want to put an impairment of themselves, because they are just so much better than their friends in Super Mario 64. His playstyle represents the A button challenge, as his A button has been removed from the game. Kirby is also new. He's a more balanced character. Kirby has 6 jumps, but as a trade-off, he's very slow and very floaty. He's there to aid your play if you are not that experienced at Mario 64, at the cost of being rather slow at progressing at the game. His slow floatiness makes him a perfect pick for a beginner, because it gives you just so much control that many people think the original game was lacking. Another new character is Sonic. Sonic is really fast, and he uses coins instead of health. Meaning, if you get hit, you lose 10 coins, and if you get hit without coins, you die. His special ability is the spin dash, with which he can gain a lot of speed in very short amount of time. However, his high speed is hard to control on stages like Rainbow Ride that require heavy platforming, so he's probably your best pick for open and wide stages. The last new addition is Knuckles himself. Knuckles can glide through the air with a lot of speed, and he can climb walls. This makes him very strong. He has rather low jumps, and his health is cut in half to accommodate for his otherwise overpowered abilities. This makes stages like Lethal Lava Land a living hell for Knuckles. So with this Net64 version, there are a bunch of game modes. Game mode 1 is the regular old Mario 64 with friends. Game mode 2 is regular Mario 64 but with a twist. Everyone gets a Fire Flower power-up, and you can shoot fire flowers at each other with the L button. Game mode 3 is if you want to race against each other while not interacting with each other. It disables character collision. Those 3 were the boring ones. The other 4, they are all new minigames. Game mode 4 is the prop hunt mode. 1/3 of the players are gonna be hunters, and the remaining 2/3 are gonna be props. You can switch which prop you are using the L button, and the timer is turned on. Since this is just a sandbox for your games, you can choose the rules yourself. But what I suggest is that the props get around 30 seconds to hide in a level, and then the hunters come into the level and have to find the props. Game mode 5 is the boss rush mode. One character is selected to be the boss, and everyone else is a normal player. The boss becomes giant and deals more damage and has more health, while the other players try to bring the boss down. Whoever gets the last hit on the boss will become the new boss. Game mode 6 is tag. One guy is it and begins to sparkle. When he touches another player, that player begins to sparkle and he loses its sparkle. So the thought is that whoever is sparkling is it and has to tag someone else. Game mode 8 is WarioWare. Each player gets the same 2 missions, and whoever finishes first gets a point. You get warped to a level, but you can also exit the level and do it somewhere else if you think that's faster. The game keeps track of the points, and I suggest whoever gets 5 points first wins, but if you want to, you can also play to 10. There were also works on special ROMs for each minigame. For example, we made a Capture the Flag ROM that you can download below this video. That ROM uses Game Mode 1, and if you want to find out more about that ROM, you can go check out my video that I will link now. To set this whole thing up, you simply download what I've put into the video description. You open the 16 MB emulator, you open your original Mario 64 ROM, right here. So on the title screen, right here, you pause immediately. You go to Options, Settings, Config, you set disk to 16 MB, you set counter factor to 1, then reduces lag. It's not necessary, but it's good. The plugins, you have to leave this on Guide 64. Anything else you can change, even the inputs. The inputs, you go to Options, Configure Controller plugin, and put it however you want. I've pre-configured a keyboard so that people without controllers can somewhat play the game. And before you unpause, now you've already set everything up. Best after you change the RAM, you just restart the emulator. It's the F1 button. Pausing is F2, by the way. Let's reset the emulator. Okay, we're safe. Now after you've done that, you need to open the Net64.exe, this one. And well, that's the debug display, you won't have that. Click on start, you select your emulator, and you will be put into this server display. Now, since Net64 is not out yet, there's no server hosted, so I'm just gonna host my own server with the Net64 Plus DED, which lets you host a server by just double clicking it. And so if there is a server here, you can just click on it. If you want to play with friends, you're gonna go to navigation, direct connect, put your friend's IP in here. This is my own computer right now. Put the port in here, it tells you the port, and you press connect. This will now connect you to the server. You can also change in your settings how you're called, like I'm called Case. I want to play as my main man Knuckles. Press save. And now you can unpause after you've connected to the server. And if you now start the game, right, I have to use my keyboard. You will be in the game as Knuckles, and you will see everyone else, if there was anyone else, but right now I'm alone on the server. And that's all you have to do. That's how easy it is to play Super Mario 64 online.